Both had to remove their family crest rings, informing them that men were killed for less.
Gold fever was a mind-altering disease, and I've seen men killed for less than a gold ring.
Her features had hardened, warning them of her experience in such matters. He was about to throw caution to the wind and step out from beneath the tree when she came running towards them at full speed. Without raising her voice, she ordered, while still at full run.
Hobson, take your 2 horses over to that clump of trees to your right. Keep 'em out of sight. Get your rifle, climb to the top of the tree as quick as you can. They're going to be looking for you behind every shrub and won't be bothered to look up, so you have the advantage of surprise on your side. As soon as you get 'em in your sights, shoot to kill.
She all but slid to a standstill, inches from Henry's horse, as Hobson leapt into action. With a flick of her wrist, she withdrew Henry's rifle from its scabbard and had it airborne towards Henry as she came to a stop.
Get up that tree as high as you can, as fast as you can. There's 2 men coming in from the left. They've followed us up the mountain trail.
What are you going to do? Henry asked.
Put a bullet between your eyes if you don't move, she whispered angrily.
Picking up the 3 other horses' reins, she ran as fast as she could towards another overhanging tree surround, a couple of 100 yards further into the scrub. Henry didn't waste a second more as he leapt forward and up the tree. This was no game, he knew from their past experiences. She spoke in deadly earnest. Hold it right there, Pike, or I'll shoot you where you stand. The cocking of the rifle echoed in the clear mountain air as the man rode out from the bush track, coming from the same direction from where they'd just traveled. Unbeknown to all, Pike had planned for them to catch her in the open. She knew there to be 3 others on horseback, right behind him. She was about to place all her faith in her companions to take out the other 4 riders, coming in from either side. Her plan was working, as she saw the other 2 riders spread out just behind the gunmen, with their guns drawn. Drop the reins slow and easy, and step away from the horses, Pike. 1 false move and I'll shoot you dead.
You're going to shoot me anyway,
she replied coolly, slowly pivoting around to face them.
Never would have guessed you'd take up horse-stealing, old man. And here I was thinking you were sitting on a gold mine, being the only blacksmith in town.
He laughed. But them 2 beauties are going to make me even richer.
Do you really believe you'll get away with it? You know who owns them, don't you?
She eyed him with contempt.
Just like you know, he will hunt you down until he gets them back.
With that kind of money, I'll be on the first ship out of town.
And you think that'll stop him? It must have really pissed you off when you couldn't get hold of the stallion then. Now there's one magnificent beast, and worth a king's ransom, too.
She kept talking to keep the blacksmith from pulling the trigger before she was ready to draw. She slowly lowered the reins of all 3 horses so as not to forewarn him of her intentions as she stepped backwards and into position.
You know, the stallion will be coming back into town in a day or 2. Actually, his son is traveling with him. Now, if you thought Grey Ghost was something special, wait until you see his offspring. He's bigger and better looking and worth a great deal more than all of you can put together in one lifetime.
The glaze of nothingness slowly fell over her eyes, turning their color to a deadpan gray as she watched their eyes flare at her words.
Only trouble now is you have to take on the whole Sioux nation to get 'em, and that includes these 2 as well. And that sounds like a whole heap of trouble to me.
She saw the surprised look in his companions' faces and knew the time was right. With the swiftness of speed, she went for her guns. Hobson flung the reins of the horses over the top of one of the low-hanging branches and raced up the tree as fast as he could. He was just short of the fork, about halfway up, when he heard a twig snap about 20 feet to his left. He saw the man crouch low and run towards him, his gun aimed towards Pike, who had been caught out in the open. As quietly as he could, he levered himself around until his back was to the tree trunk and lifted his rifle into position. His luck was in, as he caught the tail end of the second man, running a straight line behind him as they tried to cut off every avenue of escape. The one not far from him was easy picking, so he turned the gun on the one furthest out and pulled the trigger. Henry's heart sank to the pit of his gut as he watched the blacksmith halt his horse only a few feet below from where he was standing. He had a clear shot from this distance, but something in Pike's voice made him tamp down the temptation to kill the man pointing the gun at her. Sweat poured from his brow, and his breathing became labored, but he swung his rifle in the opposite direction and concentrated on finding the other 2 she'd informed him were out there, somewhere. Anger began to build in his chest. There was no way in hell he was going to lose her. He'd come too far to find her.